Welcome back to the Safe Space, part 2 of the Cardi B Druggin episode, where the crew gets into why we hate vegans, the art of writing, and of course, EP's Dark Corner. You tuned into the podcast network 52s and Smoke Entertainment. Subscribe on YouTube and follow on Instagram to stay up to date with your favorite shows like Fantasy Outsiders, Made with Real, and of course, the Safe Space. Now let's get back into the conversation. You know what? I think actually we need to make this like a segment. And so we're gonna make this a segment of the show. It's gonna be EP's Dark Corner. Okay. You always bring the weirdest things to talk about. Give it to us.
I'm glad I found this.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is EP's Dark Corner.
So I thought it was relatable because vegans and pretentious food things or any of that. Not that they're the same.
We're not claiming these people.
But, anyway, this chick at the University of Wisconsin made yogurt from her vagina bacteria.
Literally
disgusting. Wait.
Vagina bacteria?
Bring that back.
Who did she feed it to?
She ate it.
Oh!
Yo, absolutely fuck that.
What'd she do?
That is...
She made yogurt.
Used a yeast culture from my vagina to make yogurt.
Oh, did you say Florida?
No, I know, right?
No.
I thought Wisconsin. Wisconsin?
Wait, dude. Florida makes sense, I guess.
Why?
That would have made way more sense.
Is there like a reason why?
Probiotics.
No.
Healthy cultures.
No.
I'm glad I stopped eating activity.
So there's something told her that this was the healthiest thing.
No, she's going to school for this, and she's like,
wait, for vagina stuff?
Crazy.
Well,
like for culturing bacteria and stuff like that. But like, was it like you're not supposed to have like yeast down there? Like,
yeah, it shouldn't be enough to make. It shouldn't be enough to make yogurt.
That's why they advise you not to do it, but the joke was if you could. She did.
And so she gave
did she talk about it?
What did it taste like?
How'd it taste?
What was the recipe?
Her first
Was it
batch
creamy?
of yogurt tasted sour and tangy.
Oh, okay.
You don't
Almost
say.
tingled on the tongue.
Oh my god. That's
She
Wow.
compared it to Indian yogurt and ate it with some blueberries.
What did she think was going to happen? Did she think she was going to get a Nobel Prize for this?
All right. What is
No one's ever going to like...
Think about the yogurt companies right now.
It's weird.
That
Well,
could've been
so
saving
it's
so
funny.
much
So the
money.
first vegan I met at this old vegan place in Salt Lake, he was giving me shit about eating honey at the time, but then he got into yogurt, and he's like, "You know where the first culture for yogurt came from? A camel's vagina."
Yeah.
And then just went off on this.
Is that real?
It's like definitely... It's definitely like...
I did. I don't care
really
about enough
gross.
about yogurt to look into
Wait,
it.
hold on,
I hate
hold on.
yogurt, number one.
Wait,
but-
what is yogurt made of now then?
Well, it's...
Hold on.
What do you say, camel vagina?
So there's...
Like yeast.
You eat yogurt all the time.
No, I don't. I haven't eaten yogurt in a long time.
Who loves yogurt? Somebody loves yogurt.
Yo, I've been eating yogurt. Hold on, time out, Brad.
No, I mean,
I used
yogurt's
to
got a
eat
lot of
yogurt a
bacteria
lot.
in it.
I used to eat Activia like
It's got a lot of probiotics.
There
it's good
is
for your gut.
cashew milk yogurt. It's really good.
Cashew milk yogurt?
So
It's
is
really
eating-
good.
Cashew ice cream is fucking.
Oh, it's
How
so
does
good.
cashews make milk?
It's just ground up. It's just basically, instead of calling it ground up creamy cashew juice, they want people to know that it's a milk substitute.
So ground up
It's
cashews
the same thing like almond milk.
make
Yeah.
something creamy.
Think of like almond
Yes.
milk, but cashews.
It's
Cashew
so
milk's the thing too, and apparently it's really good.
It's so good. It's so good.
Is it
It's the best.
Okay, I think this is the best time to find out why we hate vegans.
Wow. Yeah, we're doing this.
We're doing it. We're
this.
doing it. We're already here with the camel vaginas.
Do we hate vegans?
It's not that I don't think we hate vegans, but we hate pretentious people.
I don't hate vegans, and
Pretentious diet people.
I haven't known pretentious diet people. I can
Like, it's
understand
like,
that.
if
Is
you're
that
really
the same
into
thing?
keto or like the all meat diet, you're just as big of a.
Because it's just something I keep hearing, and like I think you're the first vegan. Mezzi's the first vegan I've ever known in person
For
or,
me
or
too.
met in
Definitely,
person.
you're the
That's
first.
so
Right?
crazy.
I've never
It
met
is.
another vegan in
That
my
is
life.
kind of crazy.
And
That is
you know,
weird.
we started talking, and he's like, they hate vegans and people hate. I'm like, who hates vegans? I don't even know any vegans.
Exactly,
Why
me
would I hate a
too.
vegan?
I feel like
You
you
know?
guys have been under a... Like, I feel like it's kind of a meme to be like, just to give vegans a hard time. To be
They
like,
do.
vegans,
Yeah.
so...
They do, and it's a joke. And I'm like, so why is this
Right.
this
Why is
joke?
it a huge
Why do
joke?
people actually
I can
hate
explain.
vegans?
I can
And-
explain.
yeah.
Same.
Sort of.
Go ahead.
Well, there's a lot of things in my head, but I'll try to figure it out where it makes sense. Like you said, most people haven't met vegans in their real life.
Right.
They base vegans or the ideology of what a vegan is on YouTube. And a lot of those vegans on YouTube are, unfortunately, from what I gathered, is the extreme side of the spectrum, where they'll fast for like a month. they'll just drink water,
drink
or-
their own pee.
or they'll drink their own
Yeah.
pee. Like
Is that veganism?
Wait,
though?
Tim Sheaf? I
Wait,
think
is
he did
that
that.
for real?
No, let me explain. Let me
Yeah.
explain. Let me explain.
Yeah, it's
So
weird.
basically, not so you know they'll do things like that, and they'll get sick and they'll do that because they. A lot of them are so crazy that they won't actually go to a doctor and say, "Hey, this is what I need to do." There's a lot of them that went from veganism to meat because they were sick, and then they started eating fats. And there's a lot of things that are fattening, like guacamole or avocados, nuts, things like that. But they will not eat a lot of calories, and then they'll get sick, and then they're like, "Oh, well, I need to go fast for 30 days because that makes sense." They'll get sicker and sicker and sicker. They'll go to a doctor. This one girl who's huge on YouTube, she had millions of subs. She went to a vegan doctor, and he's like, "You have SIBO, which is like an intestinal issue," and the doctor said, "You need to take these antibiotics. You'll be okay. Everything's fine." She refused because she said the reason that she didn't take the antibiotics is because she says they don't get to the root of the cause. And
The root of the cause.
She's just crazy.
so then
Doesn't
what
know
she
she's
decided to
doing.
do is, I'm just going to go eat fish now.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, I feel great." It's like, yes, because you've been starving yourself, and then you ate a fatty food with a lot of calories. Meat is a calorie-dense item. It's a very calorie-dense food with fat and things like that. Lots of protein, so it filled you right up.
Yeah.
A lot of them do that, or they'll go raw vegan, where they won't cook their food. They'll just eat like vegetables or fruits, and they'll cut them up and eat them on a plate, which is very hard. You basically get no fat. And then they'll go eat meat, and then they'll be like, "Oh, this is great." It's like you're just doing it wrong.
So what made them sick was
They
doing
just sick.
vegan wrong.
It was
No.
starving
A
themselves.
lot of them were sick before they went vegan, and then they thought vegan would be the answer for them to cure their sickness when they should have seen why they were sick. Go get a
Right.
blood test, see what you're low in. You may be low in iron, you may be low in vitamin D, calcium, things like that. Instead, they're like, "I'm just going to go vegan because everybody does it, and it's great." And then
Good
they don't do
fad.
the research and see why they're sick, and things like that. And a lot of YouTubers are huge carnivores that are against the vegans. So then you have all the carnivore people that follow those accounts that say, "Oh yeah, these pussy vegans, blah blah blah," things like that, because they see the vegans that are flying off.
Flip flopping.
Yes. So
Yeah.
so every time a vegan goes to meet a carnivore YouTuber that's pro carnivore will be like, "Oh, look, another one dropped." But they never talk about the vegan bodybuilders or the doctors that are vegan that are all flourishing and doing amazing because they can't touch them because they're doing it right.
Yeah.
I look at these people because I like to see both sides, and the meteor side is just as crazy.
Yeah.
And
Extremists.
and they're
yeah.
extremists, and they're like, "Oh, look, another one flipped and went to meat."
Mm-hmm.
But there's this bodybuilder that's vegan who I love. His name's Nimai Delgado, and he has never eaten meat
In his life.
in his entire life.
How does he know?
His parents were born, or when he was born, excuse me, his parents were vegetarian. They had a religion
Okay.
that didn't eat meat,
All
so
right.
he was never given meat, and now he's vegan, and he's like the most shredded dude, and he's completely natural, and he built his body, his muscles on plant based, but not one of those carnivore channels has ever mentioned him or any of those ones. They always mention the ones that are doing it terribly, that
Well,
are
it's an
fucking
agenda.
dying,
Right, yeah.
and their skin is like falling
Yeah.
apart. And the thing is,
Yeah.
the vegans.
Watch this girl eat a raw steak.
Oh, I've seen that. It's gross.
It's
Bro,
disgusting.
stop.
That's not even
Is
cute.
that you for real?
Like
Are these like the meters you're
basically
talking
what
about?
it is it's just like with feminism. It's just like with the Trumpers. It's just like with
Really raw?
anything.
Oh yeah, watch her.
That's disgusting.
I mean,
A
I've
zombie.
eaten raw meat before, but not like that.
No, yeah, no. It's a caricature of what it really is. So you're
Right.
seeing the extremists. You're seeing the red-haired girl screaming because she's a feminist when really feminists are not like that. Don't subscribe to that.
Right.
You're seeing the crazy vegans who are, wearing blood all over them and they're naked in the streets with PETA and stuff. And that's all you're seeing. So I think a lot of people, again, it's just that they haven't met real, normal ass vegans like me and Matt who are very just neutral and understand why people don't go vegan and have our reasons for it, and we'll talk to you about it in a very calm way, but also understanding that food is a very emotional thing. A lot of people I'm from a big Italian family, and it makes me sad that I'm never going to eat my grandma's meatballs ever again because it's an emotional thing. But it's kind of I just
I hear you.
wish I'd
know.
but now I know the secret.
How can you give up the meatballs?
It's like watching the Cosby Show and being like, damn, this is never going to be the same because I know the secret.
Right.
But it's definitely I think for other people, like they get so triggered by vegans. They get so like, oh, vegans are awful, because it is challenging you as a person. Like when you talk to a vegan, you're like, why don't you eat meat? And then vegans start to say, well, it's because cows are raped, and it's because all of this stuff is horrible, and it's really bad for the planet. And it starts.
They feel like you're talking shit about them.
It makes them feel
defensive.
And they have to go into themselves and be like, well, am I a bad person? No, I need meat. Nobody...
the whole like, oh, I can't live without my bacon. It's like,
right.
Okay. And the thing is, another thing that a lot of those like the vegans, I guess like us, where they there's just another doctor I like named Garth Davis. I follow a lot of things he says, and he's actually one of the doctors that really kind of pushed me onto it. Him and other people, they say, yeah, meat tastes good. Like every vegan's like, yeah, meat tastes good. But the reason it tastes good is because of what you do to the meat.
That's true. That's true.
Just like anything. I'm not gonna eat I'm not gonna eat like just here's a lettuce. No, I'm gonna put like a dressing on it.
A cube of tofu with nothing on it.
Oh my god, there's a block of tofu. Yeah. So
damn.
The whole thing when they say, oh, I can't live without this, it's like, I ate meat for 28 years. I went vegetarian a year and a half ago, and I went vegan about a few months ago. Imagine when Amanda went vegetarian like 5 years ago.
I've been vegetarian for 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
And you recently decided to go completely vegan, right?
Yeah, so we've been vegan for a little over 2 months.
Okay. I think I asked Mezzy this, but what was the reason? Like the true, I can't explain, but why did you decide to go vegan? Is it because of the animal treatment? Is it because of the health reasons? Is it a combination of everything?
It's everything. I met some people who are vegan, and I think one of the biggest turning points in my life was meeting one of my really good friends when I was in Peru studying anacondas, which sounds made up, but it wasn't. And I met this girl who was vegan, and she was just amazing and so healthy, and she was not pushy about it. She wasn't like, I was like, oh, I'm a vegetarian. I would love to go vegan, but it's really hard. And she's like, I get it. Instead of being like, well, you don't really love animals, do you? Like, she was just like, yeah, I totally get it. It's hard. It takes a whole commitment. But, she was just little by little answer my questions and talk to me. And I realized, like, ever since I started researching things like conservation and the planet and things like that, first of all, it's the best thing for the planet. But then everything else is just like a trifecta. It's like obviously really cruel to animals, and then it's really healthy. It's actually really healthy, and there's a lot of misinformation out there about how it's unhealthy.
I think I've heard people say that being completely vegan, I've heard this, being completely vegan could cause you to miss out on certain nutrients.
I was just going to ask about that, because I was like, I know people are like, where do you get your protein?
Yeah.
Right.
Which is the biggest lie in the planet.
Yeah.
The meat industry and dairy says you need protein. You don't need that much
Which first protein. I heard that was bullshit. And I heard that there is, of course, plants that give you protein, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's
Every
protein
plant
in
that give you iron.
But they're saying it's not enough. I saw somebody like doing a documentary where they were countering veganism as saying that you should eat a lot of. They wasn't against plants and fruits and vegetables at all, but they were saying you need a little bit more than that. They wasn't saying meat. I forget what the other thing they were saying that you also need to add because you're missing something as a vegan.
Iron and protein.
Iron and protein would be the ones that they usually say. Or maybe like omega-3 or vitamin... Oh, probably B12.
So you're saying...
or vitamin D or B12 or shit like that.
You're saying that's not true? That you can get everything you need from a fully vegan diet?
No, and I'll explain why.
Go right ahead.
Your face is like, oh. Okay, so let me backtrack. So the whole protein thing is... It's basically... I'm no fucking nutritionalist. But I just go with a bunch of research on what I feel is right. Protein isn't the be-all, end-all thing you need. A zillion grams of protein. What people get a lot of is protein, but they don't get enough fiber.
Right.
You mean people who eat meat?
Just in
general,
like
diet.
Even if you're a vegan, you're getting plenty of fiber as long as you're eating a calorie-dense diet. If you're eating depending on if you're male or female or how much you weigh or how tall you are, if you're eating between 2,000 and 3,000 calories, you're getting enough protein, as long as you're not eating cereal all day.
Right.
But
what do you know?
Plants have all the nutrients that you need. And plants in general, like everything that's plant-based, grains, legumes, which are beans, everything like that. But what you can't get on a vegan diet is because of the way that modern agriculture practices are. And so B12 is the big thing that I hear, like, oh, you're vegan, you need a B12 supplement.
What is B12?
So B12 is
Besides-
a nutrient that you get from the soil. We
Okay.
used to get it in water. But now, most of the water, if not all the water that you drink, bottled water, is all filtered water. They filter out the B12. The reason that you're getting that B12 supplement in meat is because the animals are eating the grass from the soil. So basically with meat is you're getting the secondhand nutrient.
Right.
So everything that you, like as a vegan, I'd be getting like from the plant, you're getting it from the animal that ate the plant.
Right.
So B12 is the one thing that, yeah, you do need to take a supplement. The one that you'd want to use is the spray because it goes right into your mouth, and that's the one they recommend.
My mom used to give me pills when I was young.
Yeah,
She would give me B12 pills.
exactly. And the other one is vitamin D, D3 specifically. Vitamin D is again it's from the sun,
Yeah,
and the reason that again you're not getting it is because animals are outside, they're eating, they're grazing, they're doing what they need to do. They're eating the plants again that have. They
but if you're
absorbed
eating
it from-
if you're eating mostly plants, why aren't you getting enough vitamin D?
I'll explain. Because the main way to get vitamin D is you go outside. And you got to think again, animals eat a shit ton of grains. 70% of the grains go to the animals. I'm not eating, that much. So most of the world most of the country is deficient in vitamin D. So again, that's the other thing you need to eat. But you can eat, it's kind of like expensive, but you can have like mushrooms that had like vitamin D on them, and but it's expensive. But you can have the supplement, or you just go outside more. But a lot of us don't have the time. So really, the two things are vitamin D
It's
and
not
then B12.
a result of the
But
actual diet.
that's just again due to like modernization of the way we eat. Everything else you can totally get, or they'll say omega 3s, which is in fish, which is fish is the number one thing that has that. You can get that in avocados, nuts, things like that. So you can get it, but again, you have to do your research. If you don't do your research, you're going to hate it. Like I see people like, I went vegan for a day.
And it made me feel
I just
bad.
couldn't do it. I'm like, what do you have 2-3 meals, and then you just couldn't
It's
do
not
it?
for everybody. It's
Yeah.
definitely it's a very, very personal decision. And I think the biggest mistake that vegans make that make other vegans look bad is being pushy about it and expecting people to come to the same conclusions as quickly as you did, and to not know anything about somebody and to assume you do, and try to push that lifestyle. Just like anything with religion or
I was just about to say, like
anything.
Jehovah's Witness.
Don't push your lifestyle on other people. If,
Don't
if
knock on my
they
door.
ask
Don't
questions,
knock on my
yeah,
door, man.
Right,
If they
right.
come to you asking questions, then me and Matt will always talk to them about them. But like we don't tell people. Like,
Yeah,
you should-
I've learned to like. Amanda will tell you this. I have a bad habit of getting pissed off about the carnivore people that
Right.
just don't know what they're talking
tell
about.
them not to read the comments on
Yeah,
YouTube.
it's mainly the comments and stuff. And she's like, "Oh, don't read it." And then I read it and I get all mad. But then I realize it's just
Yeah.
like they don't know the comments
Right.
specifically. They don't know what they're talking about.
Most of the time in comments, people are just trying to get a
They're trying to
rise
rile
out of
you up.
somebody,
Trying to be a
like,
dick.
Yeah.
just trying
It's
to
the
be
only
somebody.
place they
And-
feel like
yeah,
they
and-
can be big and
And,
tough.
and I noticed it too that if you're on the vegan sided YouTube channels, there's people that are of like mind that will follow what their beliefs are. Then you go to the carnivore side, it's the same thing. People are like, "Oh, fuck the
Of course.
vegans." Blah,
You go to
blah.
a Trump rally and there's going to be people
Exactly.
who
Yeah, so
You want people
they
to rally
fit
behind what you
their
say.
mold,
Exactly.
So, but I never wanted to be like that, If someone
Right.
asked me about it, sure.
yeah.
But and another thing too, like if someone offers me like food that has like dairy in it or meat, I'll just be like, "Oh no, thank you, I'm fine." I'm never gonna say no, I'm a vegan,
Yeah.
because that makes them feel like an asshole,
Or it makes you look like
or
an
it makes me look like an
asshole,
asshole. It makes them feel like
That's it.
That's just the thing. Like, I think it's a meme where people are just like, oh, if a vegan didn't tell you they were vegan in the first 10 seconds of
Are they
meeting
even a
them.
vegan?
And so it's kind of like, if anything, we just want to like be a little bit less of that caricature.
If you think social media created this
Always.
this
Yes.
opinion
Always.
of vegans,
Yeah,
that's
always.
crazy because I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of it on my timeline.
It's wild.
I didn't even know people hated vegans like that until like Mezzy started telling me a whole bunch of stuff. I'm like, really? They're mad.
Yeah.
He was always concerned you don't want to come off that way. You don't want
no.
to be that type of person. You don't want to press anybody with it. And I was like, I don't see what the big deal is, but I get it now. I don't know. People are shitty. It's just it's a part of the whole social media culture that creates these ideals of people.
It's like a textbook. Like, if a person's a feminist, they're this way, and you should feel this way about them. If they're
Right.
a vegan, they're this way, and you should feel this way about them. I met plenty of people who are, who are religious, and then you would automatically assume like, oh, they're super religious, so they must be they must be against abortion and like they don't believe in evolution and things like that, but they do. And so it's like nobody
and they
ever
think you're going to hell.
Yeah, and then they end up being like scientists, and they're like, yeah, I'm religious, and I'm also like, I'm an evolutionary biologist, and it's kind of like, there's no one set like definition to describe somebody, and that's why labels suck, and we all know that.
Hey, Dumpling, you gonna be a vegan? You going vegan?
No.
You big on health, and you want me to get in shape, right?
I'll be healthy, but
you're not going vegan.
It's hard. It's hard.
I think for me it would be hard for me. Because
Amanda, tell them to go vegan. Tell them now.
I can try.
Why don't you do it?
No, I could try to attempt
I love
vegetarian.
meat too much. My
but
brain is
like
not there.
I think vegan for me would go too far or would be really hard for me.
It's a whole
like,
lifestyle change.
No, it would well,
it's a lot.
You would like never eat with your family.
It is a
Yeah,
whole
like-
lifestyle change. You lose friends.
You saying because you work out a lot?
No, what do you mean?
You said it'd be hard for you to do because you need because you like
Like,
meat
no, his
or you
fa-
like
well,
food.
his family and everything.
I'm
The
saying
social aspect
No,
of
I
the
could go
people.
vegetarian. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I could. I can like stop. What is that? Just stop eating meat.
Just meat, yeah.
Yeah, but I can like eat all the other stuff. But
Yeah.
going vegan, I think that would be really hard for me.
It is.
You don't even
Why?
realize
Because
like
of the people you eat with?
cookies,
You
like
can't. There's a lot of things you.
it's
like,
everything, and
Yeah.
little things like
let
donuts.
me let me clear up one thing as well, because any vegans listening to this are going to be mad if I don't say this or acknowledge it. There's a difference between going vegan
Yeah.
and going plant-based.
Yeah.
Vegan is an ideology that you don't wear
It's
anything
like a religion almost.
that is
Kind
sort of.
you know.
I know what you mean. It's
Lifestyle.
like it's a lifestyle.
Your clothes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't
Vegan's looking up-
wear leather. or
Anything made
suede.
by animals.
You can't
Anything,
even use a
yeah.
freaking
Animal-
Sharpie.
Apparently.
I do remember this. None
Yeah.
of your clothes
Yeah.
right now
Leather.
have been made from
Silk.
animals.
Well, that's another thing. I'm glad you asked because I have these Nikes on, right?
Yeah.
I got these Nikes on a year ago. I'm sure they probably have suede in them, but the rule that I go through is I already bought them. Why throwing them out wouldn't benefit?
It would actually harm the
Anything.
planet.
Well, not only that, it would just be like it would
Wasted
waste. So it's kind of like from when I went vegan through from present till now. Like if I had a leather jacket that I spent like $300 on, I doubt I would throw it away.
Right.
And if anybody came up to
Or
me
you're
and said,
gonna
like, I
waste
thought you were
something.
vegan, I'd be like, listen, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
And it's like, and another thing, the vegans, like, it's never enough with some of them.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, you're wearing a leather jacket. It's like, dude, I bought this.
And
I
I
really like the jacket.
Changed my whole
I
lifestyle.
changed my whole
Yeah.
fucking life. It's still not good enough for you.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are like,
You have to be lenient.
Yeah.
And like when somebody comes to me and says, like, oh, I cut out cheese, like I can't cut out milk, or like I cut out this, but I can't, and I'm like, that's amazing, good for you. Like
Yeah.
I tell people just cut things out slowly but surely. Like
or
that's
the
how I got
cats
here.
and dog food. Some people are like, you need to
Oh
feed
my
your
God.
animals
That's a
like
whole
a
nother
vegan
thing.
diet. It's like, no.
No.
I want to feed them
Why
their
don't
natural
people, Why
diet.
do people want to judge other people's lifestyle so
Yeah,
much?
exactly.
I don't know.
That's
Because
just
people
how life
have-
is.
Just what
That's the whole
Americans
thing
do?
with
That's
like,
just-
yeah,
that's
that
just how
That's
life
just what
is.
people do. I don't think
Yeah,
it's an American
it's
thing.
yeah, it's all people.
Self-segregate.
Everybody does it, dude.
We all have
Everybody
like
does
our way that we think is the right way to live, and if somebody's not
Yeah.
living that way, some people at least, I think it's cool that everybody's so different, that everything's so diverse.
Okay, so, but if everybody does it, right? You said that's just the way people are, right? I mean, everybody in here should have one thing that they judge somebody else about.
Yeah, of
Oh,
course.
I have a whole
yeah,
list,
I don't
yeah.
like people who are
Oh,
racist
shit.
or rape people. I mean, like,
Tattoos.
Right,
I
right.
judge you on your tattoos instantly.
I mean, arbitrary stuff that's not as heavy.
do people know that he has lots of tattoos, or are they just going to think he's an asshole for that?
Right. He does have a lot of tattoos. I don't know. I judge. Who do I judge people? I don't judge. I don't think I judge anybody. I probably do all
I guess
the
like
time.
who's a
I
surprising
don't-
person that you would judge? Because like everybody judges rapists and
I judge
homophobes.
rappers. I judge rappers hard.
What do you mean you judge rappers?
I judge rappers.
Wait,
Like, if
like,
they're
like
not
new
really
ones or
good.
like all, like 1992 rappers?
You didn't
Oh.
even know who
Judging.
Riff Raff was.
I knew who he was. I never saw his face, and I don't listen to his music because is he good?
No, but
Exactly.
there's that meme about it.
He only knows the good ones.
Right. I feel like I can't even say that. I'm just from a certain time capsule of rap, and that's my problem. But that makes me judge every other rapper very harshly with no real knowledge of what I'm talking
Even if it's
about.
like a
Well, I
different
mean, wait, what are you
genre.
judging?
Yeah.
Like Eminem, what are you judging him on?
Oh, because he's dope.
You're judging him
can't
because he's
judge him.
dope.
No, I
Wait.
mean he can
That's a
rap. He
positive
has
thing.
flow. He uses
you
a lot
like
of different
him.
words. He's
Okay,
creative.
let me
Yes,
let me.
I like it.
What about like 50 Cent?
What do you mean? 50 Cent was a
Like-
game changer. He had lyrics. He was more. He had lyrics, but he was very simplified compared to everything that was going on at the time. But he brought in a different feel that changed the whole course of hip hop at the moment. and he was decent. He's better than everything else I'm hearing now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
So
he
you
still had
judge
bars.
Mostly like new rappers, like
Definitely.
a
I'm
Macklemore
a
and like
old mad guy.
I don't even know any other rappers.
Yeah,
but that.
Macklemore
What?
is not a rapper.
Like
Okay,
Little Wayne.
who's like a rapper in the last let's just say the 2000s. There's some good ones. Like Outkast would be
Like in the last
the 90s, but like
decade.
the last from 2010, like 2010 to now. Anybody that you were like, oh, they're good, I like them, like like J. Cole or somebody.
Yeah.
Or like what is it? Hobson.
Hobson's the man.
Hobson's dope.
He's really
Hobson
good.
is dope.
I like him.
I don't like throwing out J. Cole's name because I think he's, I don't want to say textbook good, but he's like, if you were
Kendrick Lamar, he's okay, right?
I like Kendrick.
He's got some
Kendrick
good
is
stuff.
awesome. Kendrick is
Kendrick's
awesome.
cool.
But if you're a early '90s, late '90s, early 2000s kind of rap guy, hip hop liker,
Yeah.
you're supposed to like J. Cole.
I love him, and I think that's probably why.
His whole thing is made and tailored to still impress the old head. I'm an old head now, I guess. That's you're supposed to like him. So yeah, I've heard verses he's done and stuff like that, and yeah, he's good. But I don't listen to him all the time.
Right.
Like he's not my thing. But I have to say I like him, even though I don't really listen to him.
Right. So you just judge like Drake and stuff like that. You're like, he sucks.
Yeah, Drake is actually good.
No, who are like? So there's
The
just
rappers
no
that I
rhyme or
don't like
reason.
are the mumble rappers.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the
I
worst.
don't like the auto tune.
The little-
like
the-
Migos
the
and
new-
stuff.
the new
yeah,
rappers.
Hate the meat.
me too. I don't understand it.
I hate them.
But
But then there's a whole other side of hip hop I was going to tell you. If you don't give these young people a chance to change the sound and all that stuff, you're not trying to help the
guy-
culture move forward.
What's the dude that was? Oh, shit. He collabed with Eminem. He's really good on the new album. Oh, what's his name?
Jordan Lucas.
He's amazing.
Yeah, Jordan Lucas
He's
is good.
probably my favorite new one. Actually,
Yeah, so there's people like that who I hear a verse here and
you
there.
know
and
why I
I'm
like
oh,
him?
they're pretty
Because I
good.
can understand him. His flow is very good. He's intelligent.
I love the
He-
intelligence.
It's not just like
That's what it is.
You know?
If you didn't bring something intelligent to the way you presented yourself, whether it was the scheme that you used, meaning the whole scheme of your verse, the way you formatted what you were going to put out, was done with some thought, or the verses, the actual lyrics that you're using, the
Metaphors.
flow that you're
You mean I
playing
can't
with.
just repeat Gucci Gang, Gucci
Yeah.
Gang, Gucci Gang?
You guys know a
no,
song that
that's-
I hate that I've heard recently that apparently is a big hit?
What?
Tatiana or something
Oh my god,
like
that one it's so bad. I heard that the other day and
Who's
I
it
was like,
by?
Blueface or something like
is-
that?
I don't
what
know
did
that.
they say? I could Blueface. Isn't
Blueface.
it? Or like,
I've never heard this
Listen,
song in my life.
People
that like a
like 'cause it's
reject from the
catchy,
Blue
but
Man
that
Group?
song is terrible. Like he doesn't even rap
and I
It
feel
probably
like
is.
it's
Like I can
with
agree.
the beat.
I can
there's
agree.
like a thing going on with him. Like he's like super. I don't know what it, I was like. Is this guy kidding? Because the way that he is, his like pants are falling off in the
Yeah,
video, but
it's-
in a really weird way, like where they're like on at his ankles, and he sounds like he's super like he got drugged by Cardi B, which
he
she's
sounds
in
like he's
her
fucked.
the song as well. So
wow.
too
Well, yeah, that's the
soon.
remix, but there's the original one. It's
I
terrible.
can't. I don't know. I never
So-
heard the song.
so
I
what-
heard the hook, and I was like,
It's so
I
weird.
understand
Yeah,
why
exactly.
they're
That's
vibing
him
to
right
it,
there.
but I never even heard the words. I don't want to hear the
So
words.
what do you think is missing
Look at EP's
that the
face.
'90s hip hop and rap had that 2000s or modern 2000s don't have? Because there's one
SoundCloud
thing for me,
stuff.
but I want to hear what you have to say.
I think
Same.
what's missing now in hip hop, and like this is a very weird conversation to be having right now, but
Do it.
what's really, really missing in hip hop for me, I'm not the scholar. Don't murder me, whoever's listening and don't
Your
agree.
opinion.
It's your
But
opinion.
my
dude.
opinion,
This is a space.
I
man.
promise you, the rappers now do not understand the craft. I don't think it's about not caring, because I think some of them care and want to be dope. It's a little bit about caring, but it's also about understanding what the craft is really about.
It's like an equation. Yeah.
I think the struggle to getting to where it started to getting to where
They
they
have
are.
no struggle.
That's true too.
Like
but
how it's a little bit easier today than I feel like it was before.
it is easier because people are accepting you. Like it's like being in a bake-off or any kind of contest,
Oh my
not a
God.
bake-off. I'm sorry,
That's
not,
so funny that it's like rapping,
it's like
making cupcakes.
you're in a competition and you got to create something and then bring what you created to the table to be judged.
Right.
If the judges are saying that's probably wouldn't make it to the top 3, but you can come on in anyway.
Yeah, or like, oh well,
What do you mean I can come
you
on
have a
in?
cool look. You know, your music sucks, but I think all the
Right.
kids are gonna think you're
The plate
cool
you brought
looking.
the cake on is so awesome,
Yeah.
even though it tastes like rubber.
But then you know,
I like your
still
jacket,
didn't.
but
Yeah.
your
but like
cupcakes
rappers
suck.
now, they have YouTube, they have
Yeah.
SoundCloud,
Instagram.
Spotify.
And they can build a following
Exactly.
easily because these kids Like, and that's the other thing. See, I can't stop hearing all sides of an argument, even when I'm talking, which pisses me off.
That's a good thing.
It's not a good thing because I can never really tell you how I feel because I'm
Right.
also considerate of the other ideas
Right.
that's going around. I'm
Right.
trying to remember that people are going to tell you, hey, when we started rapping, when my age group started rapping, it changed dramatically with the gangster rap and all of that stuff that started coming out. And the rappers at the time
Hated it, right?
hated it.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Why y'all acting like this, that, and the third? So to sit here and do the same thing to the young people that's doing what they're doing,
It's evolution.
it's evolution, and I feel like a hypocrite. But at the same time, I can't help but feel the way I feel.
No, it's. I totally get it because this is like a really weird metaphor, but I'm a writer and I love studying the craft of making a good story. I think it's an equation. There's
Exactly.
theme and plot and character development. And there are people like, people who are writing books like 50 Shades of Grey and like these books that they just put out. There's no character development. People buy them up because it's easy to consume. It's kind of like sweet food where they're just like, oh, this is like really easy I don't have to think too much. I'm getting like the wish fulfillment story. But there's no theme. There's no like, wow, look at this amazing like metaphor and the symbolism and like all this beautiful stuff that makes a good story. And so it's scary to see that is so rare nowadays.
Bro,
That's part of the craft.
Definitely one of the things. It's exactly the same. It's exactly the freaking same. Where you can spot people that actually put in work, created something, followed a format. Not even a format, but followed certain elements that make
Artistry.
something special.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And put their own spin on it, or somebody who just put out some fluff, really didn't think about it, didn't create, didn't build.
Oh, this is going to be a hit.
And just put it out.
And that's
like,
it. Yeah.
bro, that drives me crazy. And that's what I think a lot of these rappers do. I hate it. But I will do something real quick. Shameless plug. Anybody listening to this fucking podcast right now, this is the Safe Space. I have a friend who just wrote a book.
Oh, yay. I love that.
Well, this is his second book. First one was Running with Lions. The next book he's dropping is called How to Be Remy Cameron. He dropped they just uncovered his cover, his picture of it. And you see that.
Nice.
Well, that's cool.
What genre is it? Is it like a fiction or is it nonfiction?
I don't know. It's bad of me. I don't want to categorize it. Let me tell you this. He's a gay author.
Oh,
okay,
awesome. We need more.
And the first book was about a gay guy on a soccer team and all that stuff like that.
Awesome.
This book is also, I guess, it's gay youth fiction. I don't know.
Yeah, so
I don't know what the genre is.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Whatever it is. I'm just telling you, this book I thoroughly enjoy. He dropped the excerpt. It doesn't drop until September, but he dropped the excerpt, and anybody who reads this book, gay, straight, lesbian, all the letters and the thing,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
If you read
That's how it
this
should be.
book, I read the excerpt, and it transplanted me from my
yay.
car into my senior year in high school.
Oh, that's awesome. That's how it should be.
If you read this book, if you enjoy high school or even hated it, but you want to go back to it,
Yeah.
from what I read so far
What's
in
it
this
called?
book, How to Be Remy Cameron.
All right. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, definitely, it's all about the representation.
Yeah.
You need more characters who are
Super
not
dope,
white
super dope.
and,
And then when you talk about people,
and cisgendered. Yeah.
true, when you talk about people that's like following a system and creating the character development, the description,
Yeah, it's an artistry.
it's an artistry. And when I read his
so
words, I'm like, yo, big respect to you, my man. I see what you're doing because I used to write as well, not books. I used to write spoken word.
That's awesome.
That's
Love it.
it's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But it's a
You know how hard it is, though.
it's
the hardest
it's
thing in the
artwork.
world.
So when
Yeah.
I see him write these books that have all these words in them, but it's all super descriptive, it
Yep.
flows together, it builds on the story, it's all developed. I'm like super respectful, like I've known you forever, and you're doing some amazing stuff, right? And I just want I don't want want it to be lost on people that the issue when it comes to rap is not that I don't want you to get your shine on. I don't hate all these new rappers
right.
because you're making money and people like you. The artistry, which it is an art, should never be thrown aside.
It shouldn't be lost. Exactly.
It shouldn't be thrown aside. It should never be, because the people that do put in the work and see their product, it's a beautiful thing. And if
It
you're not
is.
doing that, why do you expect other people to accept you so much? But they're doing it because all the kids are accepting
Yeah.
them, because they don't
Right.
understand.
So they're gonna like lose the essence of what it truly is, and
Right.
what makes that art form so beautiful, which is an important part of passing art down from generation to generation. So I see that.
But then again, I'm in your boat where I'm like always battling my own internal thoughts. Who are we to say that they're not trying or they're not putting the work in? That's the thing. You know?
Okay. Well, if they are,
because if someone said about my music, and I'm like, you don't know what I'm doing.
I mean, there's some stuff that you look at that and it's just like,
no, I know, but that's where the like the artistical brain says like, you know,
that's their art.
It's hard regardless, but I know what you're saying. Yeah. Like if I listen to I don't know, anything by Eminem from you know like the Marshall Matters LP or the Eminem Show. Way different than like Gucci Gang.
True.
Yeah.
But,
and it's like you go to an art museum and a painting of like this beautiful scene and it's so intricate, and then you go to the next one and it's just a bunch of paint drips thrown at a canvas because it's abstract. You can't compare the two.
But then again, that speaks to people though. It's crazy. Exactly. So that's why it's almost like hard to have that topic because
it is.
Like like for example, like if I released an album and it was just a bunch of noise, like literally just like and like a pink noise, white noise, whatever. And everyone's like, "Oh, this is shit." But some people are like, "Oh no, this speaks to me. I get it. I fucking understand."
Exactly. If it doesn't speak to you, it wasn't written for you.
But I understand what you're saying about the rap and things like that. Like I'm with you where I love the '90s stuff. I like again what she said. I like the story.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Exactly.
There's something to it.
It's so amazing when you can learn something from a rap song. I love that. The big words where you have to look it up in the dictionary and you're like, "What?"
I never heard
That's
that
like Wu-Tang
I
stuff.
love it. I love it.
They're speaking. They're a lot of just jewels, like dropping jewels, like life lessons, things that you never thought about. That's what you used to get, and now it just feels different. And I feel what you're saying, where it's like the interpretation of it is up to the listener.
Right.
You know, it's up to the listener. But at some point in time, that person had to get co-signed by somebody. Somebody had to say, "Yeah, this is good. Let's hear more of it."
Well, I think a lot of in the record, you know, the music industry, they don't necessarily go with good, but this is definitely going to sell. Mm-hmm. Think about like
that's what it is. It was more about what's going to sell.
Dude, like Soldier Boy.
That's all it's about.
Soldier Boy, dude.
That's when it started.
They knew he was going to be like,
we can make a dance out of this.
Superman, that hoe. The kids will love it.
Yeah.
You know
they don't know what it means. They did. They'll do it.
Yeah, they did. I kind of liked it too. I'm not gonna lie.
When I was in middle school, sure.
And it's a lot of stuff I do like. Like even in some of the dumb stuff, I do like, and there's a place for it. But when it starts to like surpass and the people with actual skills in my eyes start to get overshadowed by them, that's when I start to have a problem.
I think it has to do with like about being overshadowed. That's kind of like every kind of industry where like the ones that are, in my opinion, doing like the best, most honest, really good work, they get pushed down by the stupid, funny things like on YouTube. Those ridiculous YouTube channels that have millions and millions and millions of hits, it's because they're doing stupid, funny shit. But the ones that are like educational and they're doing really great work, and you're like, man, you need way more views, but no one's going to click on you because you're not like this big, like, hello, blah, blah,
it's
blah,
just
all
like,
stuff.
You know, it's the easy thing to consume. You don't have to think too much. You can just consume it real quick. It's trash. Just like when you open a Rice Krispie treat instead of making a salad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just blew my mind. All this is coming out to be the reality of who we are as Americans.
Culture.
It's like,
as human beings.
Yeah, it's like Cardi B and everybody. Like, she's this bombastic chick.
Yeah.
But if there was one that was not so maybe more chill.
Her, oh my God, I love her so much.
Mm-hmm. Her, people who put things into their art.
Yeah, she's awesome. She showed me her. She's amazing.
Oh man, and that's the thing. You have to. I guess for me, it's like I'm always trying to remember. Listen, this is what it is. Mm-hmm. People consume differently now. People want different things now.
We're all human.
The human race has evolved into this minute-maid thing that you want the results right now. Yeah. Across all genres, all platforms of everything, the simple things are easier to consume, faster to get you to what you want, and you don't have to put so much thought into it. Like you said, the videos or YouTube channels or things of that nature who's not doing too much to get over are winning because people are consuming and don't need that much to get out of it what they want to get. The one genre that I think has not changed, that is the truest, comedy.
Oh yeah, comedy for sure.
I don't think you can cheat comedy.
But there's a few. I mean, there's a few I think that are kind of like, that's a gimme. But you're right. You really there's no easy like
you got to put the thought in
of comedy. Where
you got to put the thought in. You
like
got to put
stand-up
put it
comedy.
together. Yeah.
Certainly, just I mean, like there's YouTube comedy where it's like really.
I mean, like
you mean
like writing jokes,
like professional,
right.
like they're like doing it.
Yeah. No, I agree.
That's a good point because they're all friends too.
Yeah.
Right.
Like not to put any names, but like Mencia, the things he did to people and his joke stealing, and he would bump people off at the end of the night. Like he bumped Joe Rogan.
Yeah, they have a tight
Carlos
culture.
Mencia.
Yeah. Like they would have
he bumped Joe Rogan.
Carlos Mencia would go on a specific time, take up all the spot, and then it'd be like midnight, and Joe Rogan would be like, dude, I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah.
For real?
You don't do that to comics.
I didn't know that.
And you know
Yeah.
what? You don't really, you get bumped out if you do that. I feel like. the
And look what he
comedy
did. Nobody
circle's
cares
like a
about him
really,
anymore. But people still
Yeah.
care
He
about
he got what he needed. Look at Joe Rogan and look at him now.
They're
Like,
pretty tight, like, and they're a good community where
That's
they
true.
like they have standards and they stick to them. And
I
so
think
yeah,
that-
I totally see
Dude,
that.
the
yeah.
comedy scene though is
It's bumping right
so,
now.
not that, but it's very like it's weird how creative industries are all the same. You don't fuck people over.
Mm-hmm.
People talk shit like crazy, like and it's you got to be really
It's like if you're
careful on
friends
what
with
you
him,
say.
then you're not going to be friends
Yeah.
with him because he doesn't like him and blah
Yeah,
blah blah.
or they know if that person goes on, you're not getting a chance again. Blah blah. blah.
Yeah, rules of
It's
engagement
scary,
go
dude.
across a lot of different industries, man. It's all the
But that's
same.
why I think a lot of comedians are doing their own kind of thing now. You know, they're
Yeah,
doing their
which
own
is smart.
channels. Like,
Which is super
I mean,
smart.
like, what's his name?
Andrew.
Louis C.K. started the whole movement where he's like, I'm just going to release this from me on my
Yeah.
website
Louis
for
C.K.
like
started
$5. Yeah, it was like what 6 years ago. Maybe?
And you had Dane
And then-
Cook on MySpace.
Dude, yeah, he was
Yeah.
the god of social media.
Yeah,
I miss MySpace.
I know.
Dane Cook was
I remember when Dane Cook had like 500,000 like followers. I was like,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, he
Yeah.
was bad.
He's kind of a douchebag.
No, he's not.
person?
He's not. No.
I don't know. I don't know anything about him
No, no, no,
personally.
no.
I just know he's
if you watch the new podcast he's in, a lot of comics respect the shit out of him, and they
have
really
to,
do
bro.
like
He
him.
was he
Mm.
was
They
pushing
really
the envelope
and
way
everybody says he's like the nicest dude on the planet.
Yeah.
Aw.
I gotta
I
check it
think
out.
a lot of like things got muddied with him. Like there was a few.
I think
things
he was
that
at the wrong time, dude.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like you know. I mean,
we like weren't
He was
ready for him.
hilarious.
No.
You saw the movie Waiting?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's great.
Oh yeah,
where
yeah.
he spits in the dude's burger and stuff, and then he never piss
Another
off
movie?
people that
What
miss
was
your
it?
food.
Employee of the month.
Yeah. It was all right. It was all right.
There was a few movies he was in where it's like, don't act.
You should have never done movies.
No, that one movie, the suspense movie, was amazing.
That's
I just
weird.
watched
What's
it
the
like a
suspense
month
movie?
ago. Fuck, what's it
What
called?
was it called? Something.
Mr. Brooks?
Yeah, Mr.
It
Brooks.
was fucking awesome. It was really good.
Mr. Brooks.
No, but the whole Dane Cook thing is like I think he was really misunderstood, and a lot of people said like, you know, Dane Cook was all eyes on him, and everybody was like way below that. So people thought he was like a jerk because he was the only one people like talked about because
Right.
he was the big bombastic, funny,
Yeah.
crazy dude.
Yeah.
But
he never really did.
He always
anything.
said shit that was relatable, and I was like,
Yeah.
"It's so
Bruh,
true."
I'm
He had this
telling you.
joke about the ketchup run that everybody does when they go get ketchup. I'm like, "It's so fucking true."
Like-
He's like, "Oh, I need to get some ketchup," and you always run up to get it. Everybody does that. That's why he was. You know,
or when
he was
you're
so, like-
crying and you're like, I did my best.
I did my
best.
Yo, my wife. This is the first thing I showed her when she came to my house. I was like, "You gotta come to my house and we gotta watch this stand up and watch the vicious circle."
It's so
Oh,
funny. You look in the
man.
mirror. You're like, this is what I look like when I'm crying.
I'm gonna do a B and E.
So
And, you know, Andrew Schultz. I got to bring him up just because I respect that guy a lot, and I've been following him for like the last 4 years. Like I watched his whole rise and change. Just happened upon him over listening to podcasts. I was listening to Brilliant Idiots with Charlamagne the Guy, and he was on there. I'm like, who is this dude? He's funny as shit. He's pretty goddamn smart. Who is this guy? And the more I listen to him, I'm like, yo, he's funny. And then I find out he does comedy, and I start listening to his jokes, and I'm like, yo, he's pretty damn funny. Then he starts to drop these YouTube clips, the same way you said people release stuff on their own. Like on the podcast, he explains that nobody wanted to give him a chance. He wasn't gonna give him a Netflix special. Nobody wanted to mess with him. She's like, I'm gonna do it on my own, right? So he drops his album and becomes #1 on YouTube, on iTunes. #1 on iTunes. Then, you know, just starts snowballing from there. He got his tours going on, views from assists, all that stuff. And then he was just on Joe Rogan like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the pinnacle, not the pinnacle, but pretty high
No,
up.
it definitely is the
You
best.
count,
If you get on Joe Rogan
Dude, if you're on Joe
podcast-
Rogan, millions of hits.
I know,
Exactly. So
crazy.
in his podcast, he's explaining how he got the Rogan bump. You know what I'm saying? After being on Joe Rogan, it's
Changes
just getting
your
better
life.
and better for him. And I'm like, this dude is somebody who cares about the craft, did it on his own, and I saw him go from,
it's pretty cool to watch.
you know what I mean,
somebody
just
like
some
that. Yeah.
comedian
He did it smart.
doing his thing and did it the smart way. And I'm like, man, I truly, truly respect that. But it makes me, I got a lot of information about the way comedians think and the way that you create a joke and all that stuff from him. Like before, I listened to comedians, I've heard comedians, but I never thought about comic technique until I'm listening to this podcast and he talks more in depth about it. And I'm like, wow, this is
It's
pretty
an
dope.
art
So he made me
form.
respect it even more. And then to watch him succeed at it was pretty damn
It's
cool.
awesome.
I don't remember who I was watching, but somebody was saying about comedians respect other comedians who respect the craft. And that, like you're saying about rappers.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I'm trying to think of somebody that I like a lot. Like Gangstar, like DJ Premier and Guru.
So good.
If he went up to like listen to all this mumble rap, I don't think he would
Right.
be down with it, you know?
Right. And I mean, but see, then they always have that part of them that's reminding them to let the young people
like
change it a
trust
little
the
bit.
change. It's
Yeah,
they're
let it
gonna
evolve.
they're gonna be
But
growing pains.
I think
but-
it, and to have like a different genre, like there's like
Like a subgenre of
well,
rap.
no, yeah, like with metal
Right.
and everything. That's like metal is the
Oh my
most like
gosh, yeah.
diverse category where it's like people say, "Oh, that's not metal." I'm like,
Well,
well, maybe
actually,
not that style of metal that you're thinking it's supposed to be, but it's a subcategory. So like,
Right.
I think that's with like mumble rap, in my opinion, is a subcategory.
What do they call it? Like
that I guess
thought about
shouldn't
that.
be
Subgenre.
It shouldn't be on the
trap
same
music or something like that.
pedestal
Yeah,
as like.
yeah. But they never separated trap music out to be a subgenre. They just
Right.
left it in.
They
So
probably should do that.
But I get
maybe.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
a-
know.
it's
I
funny-
forget. There's
yeah.
people that have an argument that they don't want to make a subgenre because that was my suggestion when I was on Everyday Black Men podcast. Check that out whenever you get a chance. I was on the Everyday Black Men podcast and the whole hip hop thing came up and I was like, listen, I don't like the mumble stuff. I'm not saying that they're not rappers, but maybe you should give them their own lane and separate it out. And I forget what the argument was, but it more was about we shouldn't have to segregate ourselves even further from what we are. We just have to accept that all of this thing is not exactly the same. And it's just hard to accept as
Is it like there's good and
coming from our
bad?
job.
Is it like a personal thing? Like that type of music means so much to you that when you see that, you feel like it's like
it's a disrespect.
degradation
Well, it's also
to.
like genres help people find things that they are going to like. So nowadays, when people are like, "Wow, this '90s stuff," like listening to Gangstar or something, you're like, "This is awesome." Who's doing it? Like, how could I? Like a little like 12-year-old is like, "How could I be like this?" Like, who's doing it these days? They look at rap and all they see is the like crazy like mumble stuff, and they're like, "Dang, that's it." And they might miss out on these really good artists.
You're right.
If
That's
they
true too.
are wading through all of
If
the
it's
other
hard
stuff.
to find
Right.
exactly what you're looking for. I get
Right.
that. But there are some young dudes that's doing pretty good. I don't. Every time I talk about young rappers, I speak of this same dude. His name is YBN Cordon or Cordair. I don't even know. YBN. He has a group. It's like 5 of them who start with YBN and then their last name is something different. This is their thing.
Yeah.
But it's only one of them who has some serious rap talent. YBN Cordair, I think Cordre or something like that, or Cordone. I don't know. That dude's dope. Look him up if you get a chance. But anyway, oh my God, how did we get here? From,
I love it. I love it.
Yogurt vagina.
And I
vagina
think
yogurt. How do we get
That's
here?
the joke.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The Dark Corner, man, it takes us to a lot of different places. EP's
so
Dark Corner. I'm
funny.
telling you, this is an ongoing segment from now on.
Yikes. I love
Hong
it.
Kong sex doll brothel closes just 2 months after opening. That's because they did it wrong, okay?
Oh, no.
They did it wrong.
I was gonna say someone stole your idea.
Yeah, no, they did. They stole my idea and
They
they did
heard
it
you. They
wrong.
listened to your podcast.
They did it wrong, bro. This is a personal one-on-one thing. You don't open a store. This is a household thing,
People
like
are
Amazon.
Cute
embarrassed
out the back of your
about that,
car.
Yeah, just take her out the trunk.
Like, oh hey, Mr. Jenkins down the
Personal
street,
delivery.
you're here too.
Yeah, you didn't hear the last podcast.
I can't
Actually.
wait. I can't wait.
On that note, listen to the last podcast.
Yeah, on the last
Yeah.
note, on that note, last podcast is out. Listen to it now. This one will be coming out shortly. Man, this was fun, guys. I really appreciate you guys coming through. The safe
So
space,
great.
once again, you can talk about whatever the hell you want to. Just explain yourself or explain it to me before you judge me. Anybody else got any other weird shit you want to get off your chest right now?
This is good for that. I think we probably scraped ourselves dry.
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah, we did, man. We talked about a lot of stuff. So, Amanda, the lovely Amanda, thanks for joining us.
Oh,
Where can they
gosh.
find you if people are
Thank
interested?
you. I don't know. I'm on Instagram at the Amanda Files. That's kind of
The Amanda
my
Files.
main thing, and then I'm pretty much that anywhere else, like Twitter and Facebook.
Okay,
So
cool. Check out Amanda. She's into
thank
the.
you.
What do you do?
I'm a herpetologist, so I study reptiles and
Herpetologist.
amphibians.
Wow.
And it's funny how that didn't even come up.
Yeah,
at
I was
all,
gonna say we
'cause
should have asked
usually-
that at
We
the
probably
start.
should have asked you about that.
No,
yeah.
I actually really like that a lot. I think because I have like a lot of followers on Instagram, which is like a weird thing. But I think people are gonna really like to just see a new side of me
Right,
because I'm
right.
like so just like, oh, this is what I do every day. So
Awesome,
maybe
awesome.
another podcast.
Will
talk
you
about
come
the
back
frogs.
and,
Of
and hang out with
course.
us again
I love
at some
this.
point in time?
So fun, absolutely.
Okay, cool, because we would love to have you, man. Once again, thanks, my guys. Thanks, Amanda, for joining us.
Thank you.
But that's it. That's us for the Safe Space. We will catch you guys next time. Check out Amanda at Amanda Files on Instagram. Also, if you want to hear any of the other shows, the Safe Space podcast is on Spotify. It's also on YouTube under the 52s and Smoke channel. Check us out. Follow us. If you like it, share it. Tell a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Anyway, all right. We out of here, y'all. Love you. Peace. Peace. Why did I just say I love you?